Hey y'all, Laura with Jot and Tittle Vintage Typewriters. Today, I have a Royal Sprite for you. It's awesome travel typewriter. This would be perfect for a graduation gift and yeah, for on the go, or if you live in a small space or like a dorm or something like that, because it's low profile, carrying case handle. It just has, it's actually not the case. It has the cover that snaps on the top of the typewriter. It types so well. And what I love most about it, it is perfect for our tiny hands. So if you're a little hand person like me, I love this typewriter. It fit my hand so well. It's also great to take off to the coffee shop or something like that. So if you're someone who likes to type on the go, or you live in a small space, I've got the perfect typewriter for you to look at. So enjoy this tutorial video and you all have a great day. Oh, and be sure to like my videos and subscribe, leave a comment, and you all have a blessed day. Hey everybody, it's Laura with Jot and Tittle Vintage Typewriters. I'm doing a tutorial today for 1971 Royal Sprite. Let me apologize ahead of time. You will probably be hearing a jackhammer in the background. I will try to take that out. But we have a neighbor here in the Ozarks trying to build a house in the hills of the Ozarks, which are nothing but solid rock. So there is a jackhammer. It's been going on for 3.5 weeks now, and I'm ready for them to be done. Okay. So this one is what I would consider a travel typewriter. It's only about a 3-inch height. You can see here. It comes with a solid cover case. So here's the cover. And it literally just snaps on the top. So it's not like a case you put this in. It has a hard bottom and you just snap the hard cover on the top. So I'll put that here. Has the carrying handle with it. So it is nice for traveling, or if you live in a small space like a dorm or something like that, you can slide it underneath. That being said, graduation is upon us. It's that time of year again. This would be an awesome graduation gift. So and I love how this one types. I can't wait to show it to you. This particular one, you'll see there's a lot of yellowing in the keys. Yours may or may not. If you've got one handy, why don't you pull it out and follow along, and I will show you how to use this. And then first of all, let me just give you my review after typing on it. I loved this. So the keys feel like they're angled back just ever so slightly, because when I put my hands on it, my hands automatically go into that proper position of how to hold your fingers. And it's because it feels to me like there's a slight angle on it. As someone who has very petite hands, I love this keyboard. It is like made for small hands. That being said, if you have, thicker fingers, then you're probably going to have a little bit of trouble with this because the keys are so close to each other. Doesn't mean you can't use it. You'll have to learn how to use it, but you're probably going to end up hitting two keys at once a lot of times if you have, thicker fingers. But for those of us with petite hands, hallelujah, this is a keyboard that feels like it was made for our little hands. So let's go ahead and we'll start from the back and work our way forward. So there's actually nothing behind here. You'll find your paper holder. There's a little knob or bump that's sticking up right here. Right here, and you just kind of leverage that, and there's your paper holder, which I really like. These are going to be your margin sets. So you just press and drag, press and drag. I like to keep mine narrow for demo purposes. Also on this typewriter, the tabs are preset. So you'll notice like this back plate is got ruler markings on it. So the tabs are set for every 10 spaces. So 10, 20, 30, 40. So the tabs are preset on this typewriter. over on the left side, you'll see a 0, 2, 1, and that is your line spacing selector. So when you hit the return handle, it's going to advance 1, 2, or nothing if you want. Over on the right side is your carriage release. It's right here. And then your paper release, is that it? Yes. Okay, so the paper release is much smaller. Let me hold this up. I know it's hard to focus here, my phone, but you press that back and it pushes this plate forward, which releases the tension around the roller, the platen. And that is your paper release. So speaking of paper, let's go ahead and load a piece. Just going to stick it right there. And you just turn that handle, make sure it goes underneath that metal bar. And if this one's pretty even, but if it's not even, then that's where you bring that paper release, you push it back. Most typewriters, you pull it forward, but this one you push it back and then you adjust your paper where you want it, re-engage it, and then you're ready to go. So when you're ready to type, you move your carriage all the way to the right to where your right margin is. And if you want to change that, then we can move this in a little bit. Okay, and you just want to make sure you're starting on your right margin. And so you can type your sentence. Oops. Oh, I did get it. Forgot what I was typing for a second. This particular one is a 12 CPI. It's a very small font, which I love. And actually, I might go measure that because it actually looks smaller than a 12 CPI. Okay, and then in typing, when you see CPI, CPI means characters per inch. Most common is 10 and 12. 10, so the smaller the number, the bigger the font. The bigger the number, the smaller the font. And that's because that's how many characters are per inch. So 12 means there's 12 letters within an inch. A lot of people look for the large font, which is like a 6 CPI, which is a very large font. That means there's 6 letters within an inch. Those are very hard to find. If you want one and you come across one, just get it. And then you probably would have to pay somebody to fix it up for you, but they are that hard to find. Okay. So let's move this carriage now all the way to the left, and you can hear there's the bell on this one. And we're going to pull this top off, and so you just pull straight up. It's got these little, no, I'm sorry, I can't see my video because there's something in front of it. Knobs right here, and they just go down in these rubber holes, and you just push them straight down. This does take a universal ribbon. Now, sometimes there is kind of 2 different sizes of the universal ribbon. This one is one of the smaller ones. Now, I think you can get the bigger one on here. I'm not entirely sure, but this definitely is the smaller of the size. Most typewriters can fit either one, so we normally don't ever mention that, but this one, it's clear that it takes the smaller of the 2. Okay. So once you load your ribbon, oh, by the way, so to take your ribbon spool off, there is a little metal arm right here. And you can either just use this little tab that's on the top, or you can use your finger down here and pull that arm back, lift off your spool, put a fresh one down on there, and the arm automatically springs back into action. Make sure you thread your ribbon through this guide wire here, and black is on top, red is on the bottom. The best way, each typewriter threads a little bit different, so the best thing I can do is just say this is how it's been threaded through here. Take a snapshot, pause it, screenshot it, whatever you need to kind of help you figure out how to thread through this metal area. Now I can tell you that the slit for threading is on the top on this one. Sometimes they're on the side, sometimes they're in the back. This one, it's on the top. There's another guide wire right here. And again, so then the ribbon goes over the top of the spool, around the back, and underneath. Okay, so that's how the ribbon goes on these. And when you get to the end of the ribbon, it's not the end of the ink, make sure you reverse the ribbon, and you do that either side. You know, this guide wire I told you to thread through, that is your ribbon reversal. You just tap on it. They've made it so that you can tap on it without removing the cover. So when you're typing, you get to the end, you just tap and reverse the direction of your ribbon. Down here, we have a red lever, and that is your tension selector. Some of the other typewriters call it touch control. It just changes how hard these type bars strike your paper. And there's two ways to adjust the tension on your type bars in terms of determining how hard you want it to strike your paper. One is with the touch control, and the other is with your fingers. So every typewriter is completely different. You will learn the personality of your typewriter, and you will learn what tension it likes, what pressure it likes, and or you like with that typewriter. Each one does type completely different. My husband has very heavy hands when typing. It's like bam, 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 you know. I have a very light touch. But there are some typewriters that doesn't work well. The typewriter prefers a heavier hand, and vice versa. Some typewriters prefer a lighter hand. For me, I'm finding, based on this Royal Sprite, it only needs a lighter hand. So that's the other reason I like it for smaller hands. So, but you may have a Royal Sprite that likes a little bit heavier hand. So I can only tell you based on what I am experiencing here. So you've got your margin release on the left side, your backspace on the right, and backspace does not erase. Let's move it here. So there's your backspace. You make a mistake, you can backspace, you can X through it, line through it, type over it, whatever you want to do. It just does not erase. Your tab is right here. Remember, it's preset, so you can't change your tabs. And your margin release, so when your bell goes off, there's your bell, and when you hear that bell, that's the signal that you need to hit the return handle, which is right here, and you just push it. And especially on this one, it has like 2 notches. So the first notch will return that handle, but keep going, and then it'll advance a line. And so, but with the margin release, I have this too far out. Let me bring it in. There, I should be hitting the return handle, but I'm not going to. Okay, so now it's stopped on me, which it should. So margin release right here, press that down, and then I'm going to finish my word. And the margin release comes in handy if you're like in the middle of a long word and all of a sudden you hit that margin and you want to finish typing that word before you go to the next line. Okay, over here on the right side is your color selector. Right now it's on red. Just go all the way down to black. And in the middle, there's a line right there in the middle. And sometimes your line selector gets bumped or it ends up in that middle area. That's for stencils. It's not going to type. You'll see it kind of making an imprint on your paper, but it's not with the ink unless there's just a little bit of ink left on a key. And you're going to be like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Well, you're not fully on your color selector. So this is a stencil setting. You will probably never use it. And if you're typing along and your typewriter is not typing right or the ink is faded, 2 things to check. Reverse the direction of your ribbon. Like I said, you could tap it right here. Okay, reverse the direction of your ribbon. Make sure your color selector is firmly on the black or the red. All right, so that is the Royal Sprite for you, and it's a pretty straightforward. Most of the typewriters are straightforward, easy to use, great for traveling. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to give us a thumbs up. I always forget to ask for that. Leave a comment, like our videos, and you all go out and have a wonderful day of typing and writing.